Welcome to the GritIron Show with Whitney Breaux, a weekly podcast where we celebrate the perseverance, passion, and lifestyle of women on and off the field. The GritIron Show with Whitney Breaux is a part of the CJC Media Network.
Welcome back should be the song that's playing right now, but it's okay that it's not because we don't want YouTube to kick us off this channel. But welcome back to the GritIron Show with Whitney Breaux. I'm here with my girl, Abby Alonzo. Finally, we're back and we're excited about it, although things haven't necessarily gone as well as we'd like for our LSU Tigers. But we knew that we wanted to come back and talk with you guys a little bit about what we've been up to over the last couple of months. We've taken a brief hiatus, if you will, for many different reasons, but certainly for some really good ones.
Absolutely.
As well. And of course, we're going to still dive into some of the topics that we love to talk about, which is women that are persevering, that are resilient out there in the world, kicking some butt on and off the field.
Love to see it. We love to see it.
Love to see it. And we certainly hope that this is not our last GritIron Show because we've got a lot more GritIron shows to go. Abby's been working super hard over the last couple of months with brainstorming ideas about what we could do for season 2 of the GritIron Show and what we could do next that makes the most sense for our audience, for our listeners that are out there, but also for us. So Abby, I want to say a big thank you to you for holding down the fort and keeping things alive and keeping things going. Because let me tell you, a couple months ago, as I like to say, I hit the wall. Almost about as hard as the O-line hit the defensive line for UCLA. Okay, so maybe I did just say that. But seriously though, I've always been really open and really honest about what I've gone through, my breast cancer journey. And man, March of this year, had a really intense conversation with my oncologist about recurrence. And I mean, thus began a 3-week tailspin for me that led me to the point where it was man, I gotta press pause.
Yeah.
Hell, I had to unplug the button.
Yep. To
be honest with you. So I kind of took the step back. We had done a lot of work to get this thing off the ground. But I said, you know what? The most important thing that I can do at this point is, take care of me. And I'll never forget, we did our show at Mid-City Beer Garden.
We did.
A lot of fun. Had a good day, a great show. And that next morning, my kid woke up on his way out the door, looked at me and said, "Mom, are you okay?" And I said, "Dude, I don't think so." And I said, "I think I'm going to take the day off today." He said, "I think that's a good idea." And that was the first time that I probably recognized, okay, what I'm going through is something serious.
Right.
I need to take it seriously and, take care of me. And that's what I've been up to for the last couple of months is working on my mental health, talk about self-care. I've never had such a great skincare routine though. Let me tell you, I mean, the moisturizer has been on new levels. But, investing that time and that energy in the right places so that I could continue to battle what has been a difficult road. And one that's not over. It is certainly a journey. It's a process. I thought it was a checklist, and there's no such thing as a checklist whenever you're fighting cancer. And I'm, happy to say that I'm still here. I'm happy to say that I'm feeling good.
Hell yeah.
A lot better. And, about 5-6 weeks ago, got some surgeries done, little nip and tuck, and I'm not ashamed of that. Trust me, whenever I'm ready to post my Instagram pictures, it's going to be, as I like to say, a thirst trap. But,
there we go.
I'll be respectful with it. So, we took a break from the show. We even talked about doing it anyway because we knew I was going to have surgery at the end of July. And we were like, hey, we're going to come back in the fall. And I appreciate you and our Colada Show family because you guys have been praying for me. You've been checking in on me. Katie's come by the house a couple times. We've had dinner and just it's meant the world to me to have the support from you and from Lloyd and from Jordy and from everybody, because it was a really hard thing to say, I got to step away. But, you know, I'm in a process. I had like physical therapy earlier today. I've got doctor's appointments that are still happening, you know, every day of the week sometimes. But I'm looking forward. I feel like I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm feeling like, hey, you know, season 2 of the GritIron Show is definitely on its way. That's my update and my truth and honesty.
One step forward every day. And what do we say? 1% better every day. And I feel like you've shown that throughout this entire process. I really do.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I really, really do. Because it's, and I mean, I've had the opportunity now to connect with other breast cancer survivors, as I like to say, thrivers, those of us that are still going through it and that are living it. Yep. And we all talk about the same things. It's like, man, you know, even Colada Show posted this meme the other day, and I was like, man, I saw this on Cancer Patient Instagram. But it's like, you know, when the house is on fire, you're like, I'm fine. And then the moment it's like rainbows, you're like, why is the house on fire? But, you know, you get through it, you work through it, you learn a little bit more about yourself, and you look to get better each and every day. Much like our favorite football team, the LSU Tigers, we got to get 1% better each and every day. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, because we don't want to certainly miss the opportunity to certainly give our thoughts on the first week of college football. Yeah. But Abby, give everybody a little bit of update about what you've been up to as well. I mean, if you haven't followed her on Instagram, you better do that, because if not, you're missing some treats.
I mean, life has not stopped. It's gotten very, very big. You know, it doesn't stop. It never stops, no matter what's going on. But I got an opportunity to do something really cool over the summer. I interned for Baton Rouge's college summer baseball team, the Baton Rouge Rougarou, and I did a lot of color commentary with my good friend Brendan Howe, who is making some big moves up there in Boston. Shout out. I don't know if he's watching, but shout out.
Beantown.
And he taught me a lot. Got to hear him do some play-by-play. His voice is phenomenal, and we got picked up by ESPN Radio right here. So that was a big move for us. Yeah. And then did some post-game interviews, and it came down to the last series of the season, and I got approached about coaching first base.
Wait a minute.
At first I thought it was a joke. I'm like, that's funny, like, great. Yeah, absolutely. And they were like, no, we're serious about it. And I ended up coaching first base, first female coach in the Texas Collegiate League.
Let's
Thank you.
Grit.
And it was so much more than I could have asked for, because I played softball, so I understand baseball to the extent of it being similar to softball. I mean, I'm first base, all I got to do is yell back and hold the gear, you know? Easy enough.
But it's still a big deal.
Right, it was. And I told you this before the show. The support that I got was unreal. I mean, I had kids, even grown adults come up to me asking for pictures and signatures, and then I'm being pulled aside after the game telling me, like, how inspiring and fun it was to watch me on the field, and that is the kind of stuff that, like, keeps you going. So it was a great experience. Everybody in that organization helped me out as much as they could, and, you know, I had a fun summer. I had a really fun summer.
So, I mean, is there like a future as a baseball coach in your future in addition to what we do?
It crossed my mind for a split second, and then I laughed and said, no, that's, you know what, it was a nice experience, but I think it's time to move forward. And then I hopped right back into football, actually.
Yes.
The first Saints preseason game at home was surreal. I mean, stepping into the elevator, masks of course, but stepping into the elevator, going up to the press box, those first steps into the press box, just overlooking the field and the fans and the tunnel and the music, it was just, I mean, I had chills, and it was so nice to be able to I was working,
of
but
course.
You know, be at a football game, like just be there and feel the energy. You could tell everyone in that dome was so excited to be there. Even though it was a preseason game, you know, people pass those up all the time because who wants to watch that? But
it's football, man.
Yeah, and that's all you can ask for right now. Just being able to go to a football game is huge. But it was awesome. Sports are starting to come back. You know?
Slowly.
I did get to go to that game over the weekend.
Whoa.
You know?
California
Yeah.
knows how to party.
Yes, they do.
We thought we were bringing the party.
We thought we were bringing the party, and let me tell you.
But we did.
But
and
we
I will
did.
say this, not to knock UCLA, but you guys need to work on tailgating, and we can give you a breakdown on how to do that, because I will tell you, we know how to do it. We know how to do that.
We'll get another opportunity for us to do it
We
here at
will.
home on Saturday.
Oh,
But
Lordy.
wait, I mean, so if we really think about like the last 14 days for the state of Louisiana, it's been crazy. I mean, you finally like get some type of normalcy going again, and then Hurricane Ida hits and uproots and, you know, obviously destroys in some cases Southeast Louisiana. There's still people out there without power. I certainly have friends in New Orleans that are still without power. And Abby, you're from there.
Yeah.
I mean, Baton Rouge certainly had its issues as well, and even out in Livingston Parish. I mean, it's just been an insane way to kind of even remember the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. But I mean, how did that impact you as a student at LSU? I mean, how did that change even getting out to California?
Well, I was lucky enough, my family and I, we had minor damages to the house,
Very
but
good.
my brother over at Southeastern, he's out of school for now, and I don't think he knows when he's going back. I've got friends who play baseball at Nichols who they don't know when they're going back to school. They can't practice or do anything right now. A lot of people that I know in St. Charles Parish, Grand Isle, even down the road in Belchase, lost everything. And it makes you kind of step back. First of all, it was very eerie that this happened on the 16th.
Sure.
The anniversary of Katrina. But it makes you step back and kind of look at the bigger picture and be appreciative for what you have. And like even opportunities like this, that we can sit here and kind of revamp the show just this one time for now, and be able to do this while others may have not gotten an opportunity to do something like that. It just makes you appreciate everything a little bit more.
And our thoughts and prayers continue to go out
Absolutely.
to everybody that is, you know, still in the recovery process. We know it's going to be, in some cases, a long road for folks.
Yeah.
If there's anything, I mean, I still have 3 blue tarps that I've been trying to give away on Instagram to anyone who might need them. Like literally, if there are things that we can do, please reach out to us.
Yes.
Instagram, Twitter. We'd love to find some opportunities where we can give back. I know even my son's school. I mean, we've like opened up the school to kids from these
Right.
other parishes who may be having to relocate to Baton Rouge during this time. So thoughts and prayers continue to go out to them. And I mean, for you guys as LSU students, I mean, the football team moved to Houston.
You know, and going back to my trip, we followed them to Houston because they flew out a couple days early so that they weren't going to be stuck here in Baton Rouge, so that they could get to California. My friends and I were supposed to fly out of New Orleans. Obviously, that was not an option. So we ended up flying out of Houston Friday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a story for you. Talk about airport travel. We can talk. I'll tell you what, we're sitting in the terminal, and we've got probably 20 minutes until we board. And I get a text. I'm watching Netflix. I'm sitting over here, Friday Night Lights, ready to go.
Game week.
Yeah, no. I get a text. Your flight's been canceled, and I'm like,
In
this is
Houston?
yeah, I'm like, this is it. I'm not even home. Like, I'm stuck here. I'm 5 hours away from Baton Rouge. Like, so immediately we go up to the desk, and of course it's a long line of LSU fans. You know, college kids, parents, alumni, kids, all doing the same thing. Well, now what? Like, we've already moved over here, and now the flight's canceled. So everybody's asking, is there another flight? And they're saying, no, everything's booked. Everything's booked. People are getting split up. We end up flying to Nashville.
I mean, like, we're trying to go to the West Coast.
Yeah, wait, wrong direction, first of all.
And you've already been there.
Right, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
March Nashville trip did me well, but yeah, I'm not allowed to go back to Nashville for a little bit, but
Been there too.
we were sitting in the airport, and I think we went through 3 different flight changes and 6 delays before we land, and not LAX where we were originally supposed to go, Hollywood. So we land at Burbank. We get there, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. Mind you, we had somewhere to be at 8. So I'm already
Saturday
not a happy
morning?
camper. No, this is Friday night.
Oh,
We had
Friday
somewhere to
night.
be.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm already not a happy camper. We get to Burbank, and I'm like, I'm the only one in my group that's got checked luggage, which,
No.
let me tell y'all something now. If you can avoid checking luggage, do it.
At all
Because
costs.
I get to the baggage claim,
Abby's that girl.
and
She's
I'm
that
waiting,
one.
and I'm waiting, and the suitcase doesn't come down. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I've been at the airport since 6 o'clock this morning. It is now 10 o'clock
And you have no
California
luggage.
time, and I don't have any clothes. So I'm gonna say it. I was crying. I'm crying at this
It's
point.
all good.
I call my mom.
You
I'm
deserve
like,
to cry.
Mom, I don't know what to do. I'm in a part of the country I've never been in. How do I handle this? She's like, well, first, be nice.
Well, okay, all right.
Be
Mom.
nice. Gotta, you know, if you go up and you raise hell, they're not gonna do anything
true.
for you. So luckily, Southwest sent my luggage to my hotel in Los Angeles at 3 a.m. the next morning. So I had game day clothes.
Okay, so you were set for game day. That's important. However,
I was going to say best place to shop in the world if you don't
I
have
know,
your
you were
clothes.
sitting there, I'm like,
yeah.
did you hit up Rodeo Drive?
You know-
Because, I mean, let me tell you, the Instagram photo suggests, I mean, the luggage, there was good clothing
I've been
that ended
blessing
up
in
there, you
disguise,
know?
Yeah, I know, huh? I didn't even think about that. Maybe I
See?
should have gone shopping. But aside from the travel day, it was wonderful. The game was it was tailgating, and though UCLA tailgating is not Baton Rouge tailgating,
Very true.
it was still very fun, very hot, and it was another surreal moment walking into the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
And again, the energy and the screaming and just everyone's so excited to be at an LSU football game again. It was incredible. Actually, I met this man named Tom.
Hi, Tom.
He's awesome. He was the only UCLA fan sitting in a sea of purple and gold. And
Well done, Tom.
he reminded me of my grandpa. So we're sitting here talking, and at one point I looked at him because LSU frat boys are just raging at this point. And I'm like, I'm apologizing now just for the entirety of the game. Like, I'm sorry. And he was like, oh no, beer in hand. Oh no, I'm enjoying this. And he's just kind of taking it all in. And he ended up telling me that he was a pitcher at UCLA back in the day, played in the Cape Cod League, coached some summer ball. So we start talking.
I was talking baseball in the middle of a football
We're
game.
talking baseball, but breaking
Yeah.
down football at the same. It was great. And we exchanged contact information.
Nice.
He's going to come over here and experience some Baton
The
Rouge
real
football.
deal.
Hopefully, some real LSU
At least real
football.
tailgating.
Yeah.
At least, I mean,
Yeah.
the pregame opportunities
Can't make any
that
promises about
still
our
exist.
football team at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, but for LSU football, I mean, for many fans, this was their first game that they
Yeah.
probably attended in person in a
Yes.
long time. Obviously, for those of us that got to watch the game on TV, it was a surreal experience to see fans in the stadium
Yes.
for a game, even though, I mean, there were still, I guess, some reduced capacity for UCLA. I mean, that was new almost in a way. It was
Yeah.
almost like a little bit of a culture shock, but it was good to see us get back to some sense
Yes.
of normalcy.
Normalcy.
Exactly. Even if the normalcy wasn't what we wanted to see on the field. So, I mean, that certainly brings us to, what we saw from the Tigers coming out of week 1. And I mean, really, college football in general was really exciting.
All over the place.
I mean, all over television on Friday. I think it started on Thursday night, Friday night. You had Saturday games. You had a Sunday. I mean, I even enjoyed a little bit of that Ole Miss Louisville game.
I was about to say.
That was a good one. Although they
Ole Miss
ejected
looks
more
good,
kids
though.
than I think we're playing.
Targeting. Yeah,
Targeting is
goodness
clearly
gracious.
something they're watching this year.
Hey, got to get early start.
Gotta
Start
get
for class on Tuesday.
You know?
I got homework to do.
And cancel them for the next game too,
Yeah.
for the first half of the next
man.
one. But I mean, what did you think seeing the Tigers? I mean, obviously I have some thoughts watching it. What did you see seeing it live?
That is not the team I don't think anybody was expecting, especially after everything that's happened in Louisiana the past 2 weeks. I think people were holding out for them to come out there and play with some pride and do something good for Louisiana, and it really was a letdown, to be completely honest. And, they lacked the hustle and the heart, and and I'm not knocking these kids.
No, not at all.
It's a transition, but they just did not look like they were prepared for this game or like that they were ready to play. They didn't show up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because they undermined UCLA, which is probably a big part of it. I mean, I did.
Oh, shucks.
I went in thinking, all right, what's
There's
the
no
score
way.
going to be? Yeah,
There's
right.
no way.
Right. And I think they just kind of got the wind knocked out of them
Yeah.
as to what the hell is happening.
And I mean, you take into account everything that happened leading up to the week, and I know
Right.
no one would ever say that played a role, but
Right.
the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'm only 33 and I got a rhythm and a routine. And when it gets jacked up, I mean, things don't go the way you want them to.
Exactly.
And so when you're in a rhythm and you're in a routine, and you've got an influx of new, fresh, young talent, which I was certainly super excited. I wanted to see the Brian Thomases of the world, the Mason Smiths. I mean, Mason looked like a beast.
Grown man.
A grown man on that defensive line, and you heard all of the comments coming out of fall camp, and it was just like, man, like there's just no way UCLA is going to give LSU everything that they've got, because I was just like, there's just not even the talent comparison I didn't think would be there. But I mean, hey, we say all the time, even if you read the book, Grit by Angela Duckworth, it says, talent doesn't necessarily replace, hard work.
Right.
And someone being better prepared. And, to me, that is what I want to see even coming out of the UCLA game, going into the McNeese State game is, hey, how do we get better?
Right.
What are those areas of opportunity? How do we assess the competition with real eyes on and say, okay, this is what we've got to certainly focus on? Because guess what? I mean, what are we, 3 weeks away from SEC play kicking off? So there's a lot of work. But the good news is that I think some of the work can be done as we gear up for the next couple of weeks.
It happened early enough to where we can catch it. But it's going to take both a physical and a mental revamp to come into this weekend's game even and, fix everything, both offensively and defensively, coaching and players.
And fans. I'm going to put myself in the category.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
We are a group. We've got to get through this together.
It's like a therapy session.
It's a therapy session. We all have to take accountability for our part in it. Intervention. As a fan, I could do a better job.
Right.
I will be there on Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and take my kid. I encourage LSU fans everywhere. We need to show up for these Tigers on Saturday and even next Saturday as well. I mean, we've got a packed Tiger Stadium. We got to bring that electricity back into the building for our guys like Max Johnson. I mean, I can't even remember, has Max started a game in Tiger Stadium yet? Because he started on the road at Florida last season.
Ole Miss
he started. Okay. Yep. So, but he hadn't had the experience of an electrifying LSU Tiger Stadium. What did you think about Max this week?
He looked a little uncomfortable, but I mean, first game of the season, that's to be expected. You've got to build that chemistry, and you don't just do that through practice. You do it through games because you're seeing different pressure than what you see in practice. I will say he did not have a lot of time.
No.
The O-line did not win the line of scrimmage. Lots of pressure coming from all kinds of areas, and I think that caused him to panic a little bit and make some questionable decisions. I mean, I saw the clip that you guys posted of the toss behind the back, maybe not the smartest.
Just taking after his dad.
He's practiced that before. Yes. I mean, it was a very comfortable throw, though, from behind the back.
Yeah, it just, the pocket was closing too quickly, and that goes back to the chemistry, and it's just, you've got to learn your teammates and be able to trust them in order for you to be able to do your job. Hopefully they're working on some chemistry on the field and off the field this week.
Steak dinners.
Right.
We need
I
to
don't
be
know what it's going to take,
playing
Coach
a lot of Fortnite, I mean, let's host some
gaming
Twister,
sessions.
Little spades, card games, something.
And I even think the defense may have lacked a little bit of trust in each other because
missed assignments.
Blown coverages.
Big time. I mean, that tight end, he is now a draft pick.
Yep.
Because of that one game.
I was just going to say.
I don't even know his name. Yeah, I heard he was a walk-on.
Walk-on, but he was an All-American last year.
Okay, well, then
makes a little more sense.
Yeah, okay.
Chip Kelly got a hold of him.
And he learned how to run that crossing route.
Boy, did he.
All day. All day.
I mean, he was shedding people left and right. And I got to say it. I'm going to say it, and then we'll move on from the negatives. But the tackling. I mean.
We want to
let's wrap, right?
Wrap up,
and put them down. We're hitting people. We're not grabbing, Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
Okay, so here was a question that I'm still trying to... Did you see was Major Burns in the game?
came in a little bit after Jay Ward got hurt. He was
about
out
to say,
there,
he was
and
out
then
there.
Todd Harris came out, and then it was just it was a big deal in the secondary. It was a mess.
Yep, because I'm like, you should have Eli Ricks on one side, Derek Stingley on the other, and I thought Major would have been your starting safety, I guess. And I missed that as the game went on, I guess. Had a little too many beer margaritas.
I was just, yep. I feel you. I feel you, sis. No, it was very chaotic.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I think this may have lit a fire
I like that.
under the team's butt. They're using it for this weekend. This weekend's game is going to be personal for a couple different reasons. One, you got Coach O and
Yep.
Cody Ogeron facing off. It's a family affair.
Family affair.
But
It's going to be a big Ogeron family in the stadium.
Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. But two, they got something to prove now
Yeah.
to the LSU fan base, to the entire country.
Yeah.
You know, we're
are
better
we?
than what we showed you. Let us show you. So I think we're going to see a better performance this weekend. Fingers crossed, please. But some preparation, some changes are definitely going to be made this weekend. It's just back to the drawing board, figure out, okay, what happened last weekend? It's not going to work. Let's
Yeah.
start over and figure out what is going to work for us this weekend.
Time to wipe
That's it.
the dry erase board and scheme up some new
Yeah,
things. And
some
like I said,
schemes.
like we've got just so much new young talent. You
Yep.
know, I want to see Brian Thomas. I want to see some of these young wide receivers, you know, be in Max's line of sight.
Right.
You know, so that his eyes are looking for him. You know, I know he and Kayshawn was electrifying. He did his thing, and shout out to Kayshawn for, you know, making the most of a prime
Stepping
time
up, yeah.
opportunity. You know, but one of the things I think everybody's been talking about, if you look back to 2019, is that you had weapons
I was about to say, you had
everywhere.
options.
You had options. And we got to make sure we got options. I mean, if I got to go suit up, again, as a fan, I will take responsibility and accountability. But options are what's going to help us identify new opportunities to
Yeah.
excel as we go forward. You know, the Rose Bowl is such a classic venue.
It is.
And Pasadena is as beautiful as they come. But, you know, I've been pitching a couple of ideas to athletic administration and to football for a while now. But if you could watch LSU football play in any venue or in any city in the world, I mean, do you have like a favorite? Because I certainly have mine that I'm going to continue to pitch.
You know, I've never thought about that
Really?
before. I have not. Man, I feel like now I'm on the spot. I don't
You're on
know.
the spot. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you
Let me,
mine.
yeah, I was about to
let,
say.
let me go ahead and give my spiel for the 15th time on whatever venue that I can, you know, communicate this to Mr. Woodard, Mr. Osbury. I have dreams of seeing LSU play in Wembley Stadium in London. Like, you can't tell me LSU fans would not get on that
Oh my
plane,
God.
cross that water to watch LSU play in London.
Do you think so?
Heck yeah!
That's a far flight, huh?
I don't know.
It's a 6.5
I mean,
hour
that-
flight from New York.
LSU will travel wherever you
We
send
will.
them.
I mean, the only thing is the RVs wouldn't make it. That would be the biggest issue that we would have, is that the RVs would make it. But I mean, okay, so I've been to London a couple times, but I got to see Rihanna in concert at that stadium. I've watched a ton of soccer games go down in their Premier League, all of it, Champions League games. And I'm telling you, the place is phenomenal. And I mean, maybe I'm, you know, I'd also take Hawaii. I'd like to put that out there. I'd also take Jamaica. I really love the travel idea of the first game. I went to Lambeau, done the Dallas experience. I've done the Houston experience. Like, let's keep this going. Vegas is going to be
2024, I believe.
I've already
Yep.
contacted my best friend who's there, and I'm like, yo, I got that guest room reserved for Labor Day 2024. But it's like, I think the environment that it creates, the opportunity that it creates for LSU fans to kind of bring our flavor
Yes.
of the game to these other places around the country. I mean, Vegas, be ready. I mean, did they drink LA dry? I mean, I
Before
heard
the
some
half.
rumors that there was some
Before the
alcohol.
half.
What?
Yes, we did.
Now, see, we tried to warn them.
You know, I will say that. You would think they would have been a little bit more prepared, knowing that we are infamous for doing that. But no, drank them dry.
We gotta
Sure
do
did.
a little bit better a job on the communication
did.
front, I guess.
I don't think you know until you know. I don't think there's enough you can buy until they're just like, oh, Louisiana. Tiger Stadium's the only stadium that doesn't run out.
It's almost like a challenge for the fan base. How much do you have?
It is.
We're
It is
not going to
absolutely a
stop
challenge.
until it's gone. I'm just letting you know.
It's a competitive spirit. Do you think we could drink Vegas dry?
That might be the only venue that's ready.
I was about to
Might
say.
be the
I don't
only
know about
one.
that one.
What do they call this? Like the spaceship or
The Death Star.
the Death Star Stadium? It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I like the travel idea. I think it we as a fan base enjoy sharing our culture, our football culture all across the country, which gives incentive to go.
Sure.
And I will tell you, when I walked in, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but when I walked into that stadium, I saw more purple and gold than I did blue and
Sissy
gold.
blue?
And we're not even going there, Whit. We're not even gonna go there.
Hey, I'm just Lane.
Oh,
Lane said
man.
it. Lane said it, not me.
Oh, Lane Kiffin on Twitter, huh?
One of my favorite. I mean,
I mean,
one of my favorites right now. I can't lie.
A lot of tiger heads in those tweets. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know if he's speaking it into the universe what he wants, but that phone might be
He
ringing.
likes that Twitter machine.
Yes, he does.
He likes that Twitter machine, and I kind of like him on that Twitter
you know,
machine.
I'm gonna say it. I think when we play Ole Miss, they will be wearing sissy blue.
There's no doubt.
Clip that. Clip that. There's
tell
no
you
way.
now.
That's it. And you know, we on this show we actually have a really good track record of kind of predicting the future. I remember a Women Crush Wednesday of Kim Mulkey when she won the Big 12 championship, and lo and behold, we got a new women's basketball coach.
Boot up, baby.
Boot up all around. Big expectations for basketball.
Yes.
Over the coming months.
Yes, indeed.
Gymnastics as well, which is going to be gearing up pretty soon. A lot of exciting things. Soccer.
I was about to say.
LSU women's soccer is like on a tear.
God, what are they ranked?
Number 7.
That's at 7.
Totally saw that the other day. I got a kid that plays soccer. I'm like, we're going to go see the girls kick it around so you can learn a thing or two, kiddo. Because they're kicking
Learn from
butt.
the girls.
Learn from the girls, as the first base coach likes to remind us. And speaking of learning from the girls, you know, fantasy football is here. Lloyd, did you guys actually get your fantasy football thing
Hell
going?
no, we don't ever.
What the heck,
We had too much
dude?
time. We thought of it too soon.
Oh my gosh, too much time certainly allows for us to. Well, I am the only woman in a fantasy football league called the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Whitney,
Oh, yes, indeed.
which I do
love it.
enjoy. I do enjoy, and we did our draft during the Louisville Ole Miss
Miss
game
game.
the other night. And I must say, to say that I won the league last year and had, I picked 12th, in the first round. I was very proud of my A- draft grade awarded to me by Yahoo Sports or Yahoo Fantasy. And so for those of us that are still out there and you have not drafted your 2021-2022 team, I think tonight's like the last night because we start football tomorrow. So Lloyd, there's still time for you guys to get this going.
Yeah, let's get this
and
thing.
just invite me so that I can get another league
That's what we
opportunity
needed to do.
But do you play fantasy?
I don't. And that is something I know, right? Actually, I got a text today asking if I wanted to draft tonight and join a league last minute. I got too much homework. I had to turn it down. But that is my next step. That is the next thing I want to get into because my dad, ever since I was growing up, he's in 3 different leagues.
Good
he runs 2 and drafted. I tried to call him last night and he was like, I'm picking, sorry. I'll call you tomorrow. I hope you're okay. But yeah, no. That is the next thing I want to get myself into.
It's addictive. So let me say that first. I remember Labor Day because we always tend to do this. We must do this on Tuesday or Monday, like Labor Day weekend. The league that I'm in. I remember being in Morocco, for Labor Day weekend on my way to a work trip. There, you always just tie something fun on before it.
Yeah.
And I literally leave a nightclub in Casablanca, Morocco to go to the hotel to draft my team because there's no way I'm doing auto draft. And actually those are that's number one of my 3 fantasy football league tips. Do not auto draft. I got to observe it. One of my other colleagues is in South Africa right now, so he did not get up for our draft the other night. He drafted a kicker in the 6th round. I was like, this is your consequence for being on auto draft, and I'm not going to remind you or tell you anything. But number 1, do not auto draft at all. Number 2, good for heaven's sake, get your tight end, especially if it's Travis Kelce and he is a serious weapon, or your running back in the first round. And I understand that, quarterbacks are important, but weapons in fantasy equal points.
Yep.
And big points. And I'm in a keeper league, so I kept Lamar Jackson from last year, picked up Ryan Tannehill in like round 5 or 7, I can't remember exactly, but get your weapons and get them soon, and running backs in particular, because they go fast.
Yep.
And you need a couple on the bench as well. So like in my league, we got 2 that you can play each week, and then you got a couple that are also on the bench. And then my last tip for fantasy, always have a backup defense. My commissioner hates me for this, but every year, and I'm like, whoa, dude, who won last year? Not you. He was second, but but I'm telling, like, when it comes down to it, having that second defense on your bench not only provides you with a level of security and a blanket if once your defense is kind of in a bye week and you got to actually swap someone out, but it also becomes a very valuable trade item for other people that are in your league whenever you need a little something. So those are my 3 as you're going through these last minute fantasy draft pick.
Taking notes.
Take notes. Hey, look, I got the A-. The other thing is pay attention to people that are coming up on contract negotiations, and they're in a contract year. So I picked up Russell Gage, and see, this was one that totally, was down on draft boards. Nobody in my league paid any attention, but see, he's getting out of that rookie contract this year. He's got something to play for.
Something to prove, right.
And yeah, I do have a tendency to draft LSU wide receivers. So that was it was so funny because Yahoo in their little analysis, they're like, you must have inside sources because you picked Russell Gage well before we thought anyone should. I'm like, well, let's wait it out. Let's see what happens in this season because man's got something to prove. And hey, if it's going to equal some additional points on my fantasy board, I am all for it. So fantasy, make sure you get your picks in. You got probably less than 24 hours in order to make that happen. But ladies, still always teaching something. Game day outfits. We've talked a lot about game day outfits. Obviously, Abby was looking fly.
I really did like my dress.
It was fab. Lloyd, if we had it, it was. You'll have to go check it out on it. But where do you do your shopping for game day?
It depends. I'm a big online shopper.
Okay. What sites? You want to talk about taking notes? Let me reverse this real quick.
Don't want to give away your sources.
I will, but okay. I think a couple people watching are going to laugh at me because I'm on a college budget right now. So, the boutiques over here, I got to pass up sometimes.
Understand.
Occasionally, I'll go out the budget and go get some cute stuff over here in Baton Rouge or New Orleans, but I really like to dig through Amazon.
Let's go. I have an Amazon problem too.
I'm not kidding.
And you find good stuff.
Yes. Sometimes
you should start
it's
a shop and
Should I start a list?
You should start a list. Start a list.
Game day list.
Let's start a GritIron game day list. Not a bad idea. Look at this ideation going on live on YouTube right now.
I was about to say.
A game day list. And we can add stuff to it.
That is,
do an outfit for the week. Outfit of the week. Every game day.
See?
We're on to something here.
We're on to something. I certainly greatly appreciate my girl Tia Whittington at Shop H. Kyle. This is where I get a lot of my game day outfits because I have no capability of selecting good clothing. It's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Bro Body Fitness because they keep us fitted up and I don't have to guess what to put on. Put on some yoga pants, but on game day I leave it to somebody else entirely. I'm like, hey, can I do these? What about these options? What do you think?
Put it together.
Put it together
and let me know.
And I'm just gonna put it on and I feel good. She always makes sure that I'm looking good, and that's right down the road here in Baton Rouge. Well, actually it's across the line in Ascension. Off of Airline Highway, it's right by I think it's by a Rouse's and a Lit Pizza. But you can also check her out on Shop H Kyle on Instagram. She's on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Just super cute stuff. There was this she had a off-white sweater that just said Tigers across the front in yellow.
Cute.
Fresh.
It'll be getting cold in a couple months when sweaters are the move.
We got a little time. Got a little time in order to
get it now before
You're right.
They'll bump that price up on you.
I was about to say.
You gotta stay ready. Sweater weather is coming. It's coming. So Abby, before we get out of here, this was a lot of fun for us to get back together and remember the good times and be thinking about what we want to do next with the GritIron Show. But obviously there's still a huge football season still left to be played. You know, we talked a little bit about the things that LSU did in week 1 and some of the areas of improvement for week 2. What would you give the overall rating, or what would you say you anticipate the record will be for this season?
You know, I don't know.
How many wins? How many wins do you
What
think?
would you have said before the UCLA game?
Oh, a good question.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
do
You
it.
want to make
It's
me
good.
upset all
It's
over
good. Don't
again?
do it.
All over again.
How many losses do you think we would have had before the UCLA game?
If I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
maybe I could be ignorant here, but I think maybe only 2.
2?
That's where I was.
That's where you
I
were?
think
Between
2.
2 and 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was sitting on 3.
There's
I
so
was-
much talent on this team.
So much talent on this team. And I was thinking, like, you know, I was thinking Bama might have a little struggle back. That
Yeah.
doesn't seem to.
Crazy how much you either react
Nope.
correctly or overreact to
Yeah.
the first week, because it's like A&M's no good. They trounced. Alabama's like, well, they're just going to win the whole thing.
Their whole thing.
And before the season, I was thinking the same thing you were. I was like, Alabama can't possibly be as
Can't be
good.
rebuilding that
It's
fast.
like, why do I doubt that man over there?
I don't.
know.
It's not a smart idea. It's not a smart idea to doubt him at all. I mean, even Kirby. I mean, Clemson still played him tough, 10-3 final score. But I mean, I was like, okay, Georgia with no
Right.
fall off. There you go. So it's just, and thank goodness we don't have them on the schedule this year. But I mean, Ole Miss versus Louisville, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh boy, Matt Corral is like, you know. So what happened? What was the other guy who played baseball that like ran over us a little? Not ran over us, but certainly had a lot of yards in 2019.
Oh, yeah, the good-looking guy with the plays the piano.
that plays the piano and sings.
And he plays center
John
field.
Rice Plumlee.
John Rice Plumlee.
I guess, will we ever see? I wonder if we'll ever see him again at quarterback for Ole Miss.
No, it's
I
Matt
don't
Corral.
think
It's
so.
Matt
Yeah,
Corral. I think
Matt's
they
got
moved
that-
him last year to wide
Yes.
receiver.
Oh,
They
so
did.
like a complete, okay,
Yeah,
because he
he's-
was like
he's
a
a-
running back. Shucks,
Yeah.
the kid was super fast.
It's got a little Taysom Hill vibe.
That's a very good comparison. A little switch, little Swiss Army knife. I kind of like that. I mean, it's going to be an interesting season for the Tigers. And I mean, again, as fans, we got to show up, we got to show out, we got to support these guys, got to support the coaches, because just like they have room for improvement, we have room for improvement as
Absolutely.
well. You know, you got to bleed that purple and gold if we want to continue to see the output from the team that we want to see each and every Saturday. And hey, it's a long season. We got a long way to go
Yes,
before we
we
get
do.
to November and Texas A&M, my son's least favorite game of the year because it's tied to his birthday. And the year we went into 7 overtimes.
I was
oh
about to
yeah,
say.
that was his birthday, 11/24. It's tattooed on my wrist, except for the year 08, not for the game that we went into 7 overtime on. But we're working on a lot of fun and exciting stuff. We've got some really good things that are coming. Today was really all about, coming on and just kind of sharing some stuff that we've been up to, what we've got going on. And over the next couple of weeks, you'll hear from us. You're going to see us again. We're not going anywhere. We're just we're going to continue to take our time and make sure that we that we have some really good stuff lined up.
I'm jealous I got to wait this long. So much content.
So much content.
I'm on a 24-hour deadline every day. I'm like, look at that. I got fantasy
Struggling.
football to talk about.
We got a lot of stuff that we can do. And any shout outs you want to give, Abby? I got a couple.
You go ahead first.
I got a couple because just from my family, my friends that have supported me over the last couple of months. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. I mean, I've had people randomly. I mean, I'm out in a grocery store and they're like, "Hey, are you Whitney Breaux?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? I didn't do it. Whatever it is." And they're like, "You're on Jordy Show. I've been following your story." And I'm like, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. There's a lot of women out here in our community, 1 in 8, that are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. I never thought that it would be me. But I've done my best to, as I like to say, fight like a tiger in order to get through it. But that only happens because of the support from a lot of friends, family. My best friend who's here in the room with us today. It's all about the community that makes
Absolutely.
that makes it happen. And shout out to Women's Hospital. I'm now on the board of directors for that hospital. Yeah, giving back as a patient. Obviously, also
What don't you do? I mean,
sleep, which is what I've been doing for the last couple of months.
Just recharge, dude.
I mean, it's really scary to imagine like a recharge version of me, but don't worry. As soon as we're done with this, I'm going to be going to bed because I'm tired. I'm tired. But, Women's Hospital just started a great podcast that's out there. You can check them out on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, everywhere. A lot of great, accurate medical content being shared about COVID-19 vaccine and, infertility rumors and things that have been out there. All kinds of really good, credible, factual information. So be sure to check it out. Woman's Hospital, you can find them on Instagram. They're on Twitter. You can also find them all over, like I said, all the podcast space. And I got a lot of love for the staff at the Breast and GYN Cancer Pavilion for just wrapping their arms around me the last couple of months and making sure that I could get back in this seat with you today, Abby.
Well, I love that. And, I've got people to shout out to because throughout this hiatus we've taken, I've had so many people ask how it's going and they support it so much. Family, friends, coworkers for the baseball team and even at the Saints and VSN. And I don't know if y'all know this, but I am a bartender at Bogey's. Been there for about 3 years
These
now.
are the things we need to keep in mind.
I am a bartender at Bogey's. Wink, wink. I will be bartending Saturday game day. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday.
That was my
check out their
Bogey's
deals.
night.
Check
Oh,
out
the
deals.
frozen screwdrivers.
Yeah.
We used to leave student government senate meetings and go to
my
Bogey's. Do
Hey.
you really want to know what we were up to in
We'd love
SG?
to
We
hear
went to
it.
That's
Bogey's
just
after.
meeting of the
We'd love
minds,
to
you
hear
know?
it.
That's where we got things done.
Exactly.
Even they
Yeah, they have.
have allowed me to take the sports career and make that the priority and just kind of fill in over there when necessary. So they support us. It just everybody who has supported the show, and not only the show, but just women in the sports world. Because like I said, excuse me, earlier when I was coaching, the support that I got was overwhelming. And it's motivating and encouraging that what we're doing is very important.
It is. It
So-
is. And that's why we're going to keep it going.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to find opportunities and ways to recognize, to talk to women with passion and perseverance, both on and off the field. For Abby, Lloyd, and myself, thank you for tuning into our interlude. And stay tuned for more about when you'll be able to be clued in for season 2 of the GritIron Show. Subscribe so that you get all of those notifications when we go live again. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Holy shit.